Hello. It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Welcome to Voices of Wisdom Wednesday. And today's subject is hope and despair. How important is it? What's prompting this is yesterday I was on a break and a friend called me. She's a board certified therapist who's moving into spiritual coaching online. And she said, I'm so frustrated. I like feeling I'm starting, but is it worth it? I don't know what to do with myself. I want to kill myself and die is basically how she was yesterday. She said, how did you do it? How do you do what you do? Okay, now that brings me to the subject of what I want to speak about today, hope or despair, because we're at the beginning of 2022, and usually at the beginning of the years, right? All raring to go, and we're 2 years into this pandemic now, and it's just like such uncertainty and there's despair all the way around and such uncertainty. And let me say, while we're on here, you may hear voices in the background or telephone. That's my technology that is going off in its own life. I'm going to be going back to the computer store for the 6th time once I finish this. But that's how life is in these days. And she said, I really want to be of help to people, and I've invested in moving forward, but I'm so frustrated, and the debt is starting to rack up. And it wasn't what she was saying, it was where it was coming from that I really, really connected to or could sense from her. She was saying the right words, but there was such stress and anxiety there. Can you relate to that? And she asked, how did you, how are you moving forward? And I said, bottom line, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And I've been at this for 25 years, but it made me think. And I said, in the past, in the way I grew up, if I would hear, let's say, 10 compliments and 1 criticism, I'd focus on the criticism, and I would be spending my energy to figure it out and get that, get it perfect out of people pleasing, because I was coming from a place of I'm okay in this world when everything outside is comfortable. And that's an exhausting way to be, till I started to learn, how important is it? All right, in this sentence, how it's like a slogan in 12-step rooms, you hear it all the time. How important is it? And I used to think about how important is it over the years of living out of the box and listening to my inner voice for guidance, and those are my marching orders. It's like I have not exactly lived a consensus lifestyle. And when I get the barbs and the jabs and the criticisms and the betrayals and all those lessons, the pains of when you dare to stick your neck out, I would ask myself, well, how important is it? And, what's most important? And then in recent times, since the pandemic, more clarity has come to me. this aspect of, well, how important is it when faced with the despair like she was feeling yesterday? How important is it? And since yesterday, I've been thinking about that a lot. And it's really, really important, meaning how important is it to be who you are, to share what you have to share? And, this friend yesterday, she put her neck out, but yesterday that was a voice of despair and anxiety and stress. Can you relate to what I'm speaking about, right? How, yes, no, and if yes, how can you relate to this? And the thing is, how does this relate to our healing voices? Well, it's that how you focus is really what makes the difference. And today, the life that we're living in is, more fragmented than ever before. And one, you can ask yourself, whatever gets stirred up when let's say you want to move forward with something, or it's 2022 and you're wanting to make a difference this year and start off the year on the right foot. And yet there are silent voices inside saying, why bother? That's what I'm seeing all over the place. I see it couched behind divisiveness, behind fear, whether it be COVID, the pandemic, the monetary systems, social unrest. Pick your poison. It's not a poison, but pick your area. It's there's arguing and defensiveness and all of these things, which are reactions to something that's much deeper. And we never pay attention to that, which is why this slogan, or this saying, how important is it, is really important. And why I'm recording this today, because I'm realizing, oh God, it's like really important for me to be me and to show up as me. It's not about me. It's how that we're each instruments and we're conductors of this instrument. And each one of us has a voice. And what comes out in the sound is not what matters, even though that's what we always pay attention to. And if you're honest with yourself, isn't that why you won't speak up? Or if we do speak up, it's against something. What is that? That's in reaction to something. But the power, the true power, is in the alignment of the instrument. The true power is in being the conductor. That it's beyond cognitive. And what happens is that when the despair, or when we react, I've been so reactive these just with the phone and the computer, with the technology. I noticed that underneath the frustration, it's like everything died, and for I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks now, all kinds of technology stuff going on. And underneath it all is a feeling of powerlessness. And underneath that is a old voice of, I don't matter. There's no God. I don't have help. That's the voice of victimy. Okay, put in the light of how important is it, that voice is very important. because that voice, when I react to it, makes me feel like shit and will keep me under the covers and stressed and anxious. But how important is it from the lens of I'm not responsible for the old voice that gets triggered, and we're talking about the voices that are in the silence behind what's coming out of your mouth. It's like that voice would destroy me if I allowed it. That's self-sabotage at its most dangerous. And God bless, after 30 years in service to this inner voice and the source of the sound, which is in the silence, meeting that same voice, the same voice of despair. It doesn't matter what I do, the world's going to fall apart, nobody cares. And meeting it kindly, gently, presently. And as the conductor, choosing, where am I going to focus? Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? Okay, the autopilot is half empty, right? 10 compliments, 1 criticism. That's how my body got wired. Left to my own resources on autopilot, that's where it will go. Only being the conductor, you get to choose in this present moment. And how do we create harmony? Think about an orchestra, with a symphony, with the symphony of sounds. But it doesn't just happen on autopilot. You plug in. It's like every single one of those musicians is tuning the instrument. When you first come into the auditorium, you hear cacophony. There's not harmony. Right? It's that again and again and again, listening, meeting the dissonance, and then reattuning to the balance, to the harmony. But that cannot happen when we're reacting on autopilot. And you have the choice, and this is, this is how I answer to my friend. She goes, "Wow, I never thought of it like that before." She goes, but how did you, she kept asking me, how did I, and it was a very interesting conversation because I was actually on my walk and had the break to speak to her because it was my way of pausing when I wanted to tear my hair out because of the technology yesterday. I mean, like, I'm even speaking about it, I feel like the vulnerability in my tummy, but it took a break. It's like, I know the glass is half full, but I don't know how. And what I noticed was in the reaction of the oh, it's half full. There's another part which I noticed last night with the telephone. I got a new cover, and the cover caused the phone to go off. I have this brand new phone, and then I couldn't use the phone anymore. And, like a responsible, mature person, I like, oh, the glass is half full. I can do this. And I kept trying and trying and trying and trying until, and then this voice, I put it under pillows in the other room because it's like loud and I can't change the volume. And it's one of those, those electronic auto voices. And at some point, I just went off. It triggered me and I screamed. I lost it, totally lost it. And at that point, that really gave me pause. How important is it? It was like really important. It was late at night. It's like, sweetheart, you lost it. And where do how do you align when you lose it? Well, at each and every moment, we have a choice to how we align. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? So, what are your dreams? What are you planning for 2022? And what gets triggered in you that keeps you, either in the half empty or half full side? And how do you keep yourself in the half full? Mine this morning, I went to sleep. I slept very well, thank God. I woke up this morning and kind of with the hangover from having lost it last night. And I sat in silence. I thought, and that's why this broadcast is later. It's not at noon because uh, I ended up sleeping later, not out of running away, out of really listening. And that inner voice said, you're in no state to wake up. You really, it felt like despair when I'm really filled with a lot of hope. But both of those exist at the same time. It's whatever we're going to pay attention to. And when I first woke up, I just felt that old exhaustion and like an emotional hangover. And I remembered that how important is it? And so putting self-care first, just the most important thing, and knowing that the power is in the alignment. It's like if I would be Miss Great Spiritual Soldier and, being of service, it's like I want to show up and I'm committed to it. It's like I am showing up. It's not perfect. If I would have pushed myself, I would have been sabotaging myself and sabotaging my higher power, sabotaging the good that I'm in service to. Because the power is in the alignment. And then remembering that, how important is it? And choosing. It's like that was just so inspiring because it brought, it brought yesterday into focus. It brought the conversation with the friend in focus and in appreciation to be able to have responded. She helped me by asking me because she helped me choose how I was going to respond. And it was not a conversation of a pity party, which is also what I just see so much online. And, while there's a lot that we can complain about and a lot that we could be scared about, I just know that after 30 years of, living through wars and displacement and social unrests and not knowing what would be 2 seconds from now, that we don't have control anyway. And the power is in alignment, is in what you're going to choose, reacting to your habitual voice. Because anything that's in reaction, those voices are in there and they're silent, but they're screaming. And 99% of the time, we're responding to those. And in order to really experience a new reality, all it requires, it's so simple, is to dare stop for a moment and go beyond that, to connect to the source of the sound in the silence. And there you find your power. There you find the answers to any question you may have 24/7. And to there you discover your own voice and the gift that is waiting to be shared. And it's really so important these days. That's what's, getting me out of bed. And it's pretty awesome. And we're in the process of getting ready for the launch of Emerge Triumphant. And it's beyond words awesome for me, because it's like the expanded and revised edition of Miriam's Secret. And isn't it amazing when when you look back in retrospect, there's such 2020 vision. And what I so appreciate about that is that it helps us to have great hope in the present, because it really is that present that is where the power is. And I'm very excited about that coming out, and of our community this year, and there are plans percolating for a community event that I want to have a community workshop, and thinking to do it around, we'll do it around Valentine's Day for self-love, for the voice of self-love. And that also is the same time that we have World Sound Healing Day. So I thought that would be really, really nice. So stay tuned. And I'll have some questions for you. Maybe we'll take a poll and see what kind, like how you would like that. What would be most helpful to you? Well, we could start by, I would really love to know what your dreams are. What your dreams are, and what's keeping you stuck in the half empty, or what takes you off. What I want to share with you in that workshop are some tools that I'm using that are just game changer for me, really keeping me on, in sync, especially in the off. When going off and triggered, because there's so many triggers these days. Wonderful, wonderful opportunity to reconnect. I look forward to hearing from you, and wishing you a wonderful, wonderful week. And remember to ask yourself, how important is it? Your voice is so important. How are you going to align with it? Your power is in your alignment. And how are you choosing? Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.